Palm Beach County, beautiful Palm Beach County, and here we are. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our constitutional officers like to have a table in the back now. There's so many interesting things that they can provide for you. Much information. We have the supervisor of elections today. We have the property appraiser's office. Okay, so it's great to see everybody. Well, you asked for it. A Zoom board certification, February 10th at 6 o'clock, and we have a lot of people signed up, and we can have up to 500 because it's like it's a webinar on Zoom. So go ahead and you can sign up here, or else remember, send an email or a message to me. You all have it. Welcome Highland Park, our newest community. Even though we're in COVID time, we keep bringing up the communities. We got a new community, so it's great to see you. Bill Zeller is here. Raise your hand. Great to see you. And we'll get you a tag for next time too. Welcome. All our elected officials are in Tallahassee. Or the Board of County Commissioners right now is having this major meeting up in West Palm Beach, and it is about the Agricultural Reserve swap. How many people have heard about that? Raise your hand. Everybody in the room, because all of our people are so well informed. So before we hear from our first responders, and we do want to let them go to their work as soon as possible, I'm going to just play this 4-minute video. We couldn't get up there because we have our meeting here, and you're the most important people to us, and we have to be here for you. And we've got a great program today with property appraiser Dorothy Jacks. We sent this video to the county commissioners, and they all saw it. And I'd like you to all see it today, and it is just 4 minutes long. Hello, I'm Lori Vinikoor, president of the Alliance of Delray Residential Associations. Today we're talking about the Agricultural Reserve. Clearwater Revival Farm is one of many special farms here in the Agricultural Reserve. We have 15 acres of horse pastures, fruit trees, and what we have here are all the preserve parcels that the county has in this whole plan of the Agricultural Reserve right now. We've done a really good job preserving farmland in the Agricultural Reserve. The newest swap proposal could drastically change all this. But we have concerns. One major concern is the fact that the lands are not congruous between up in Indian Trails Grove and down in the Agricultural Reserve. And this is absolutely documented by the fact this past week. And you can see, we'll show you the temperatures, 5 degrees difference. 5 degrees difference makes a big difference when you're talking about growing tropical fruits and tropical vegetables. I'm going to show you a few things right now from my farm. Welcome to the Vinikoor Farm, otherwise known as Clearwater Revival Farm, right here in the middle of the Agricultural Reserve in beautiful Palm Beach County. You'll see many varieties of trees here on our farm. And we have so many different mangoes and avocados and carambola. Come and look. This is a jujube tree. You think we don't have apples here in Florida? This tastes even better than a Granny Smith. And this is a carambola tree. Beautiful, delicious, succulent star fruit, which I just picked. Now these grow great down here. They're very succulent. If they go in colder climates up in Northern County, they'll be like ice cubes, and it destroys them with the frost. It's a farm without banana plants, and we have all different types of bananas. Right up there is the praying hands bananas. All different types of bananas can be grown here
in the agricultural reserve. These are lang lang flowers. They make Chanel No. 5 perfume, believe it or not. You can see we have papayas here. These papayas are actually grown from seed. We have mangoes right over there. And mangoes actually grow from a seed, but then you need to graft them in order to get a true mango, the kind that we would eat from the tree. Come and meet Paint and Rebel, my horses. This is Rebel. See, say hello, Rebel. Yes, hello. He's a quarter horse. Paint is a gorgeous, gorgeous quarter horse. He's like a giant Dalmatian. Yeah, there's Paint. It has been a pleasure showing you our farm today and providing some concerns that the people have. I've heard this from many of our residents out here in member communities of the Alliance of Delray Residential Associations. We need to work together to preserve farmland, especially in the agricultural reserve, this most special area. We've already done a great job preserving a whole lot of land. We shouldn't give any of it up right now. Thank you. Thank you for that. I got many phone calls from not just people that live in the agricultural reserve, but also outside. Everybody's very concerned. It's a very big, big idea that will change drastically the farming and the agricultural reserve in Palm Beach County. And we're not saying it'll never be developed, but this is not the time, because there are so many changes now happening already along Atlantic Avenue, and the county commissioners are already working on many other changes that is going to probably increase the density in the agricultural reserve. So this isn't a great idea right now. Our county commissioner, Maria Sachs, is asking them to play this video today. I asked the mayor to play the video today at the meeting. One other thing about development. One good thing, sometimes there's something good. You look for a little bit of hope. The Delray storage, you know, by the flea market, right? It's been postponed yet another month. But it's been postponed because they are working with our member community, High Point Section 2, High Point West Section 2, and they have committed already verbally, but it's basically a done deal that they are not going to have a fueling station. They're going to look for something like a restaurant. They still want the car wash, and maybe they'll put an 8-foot wall behind the storage instead of the 6-foot wall if the county allows it. They are working still with High Point West Section 2, so more of that, and we hear about it too. They'll be presenting it to us, so you'll be hearing about it in the newsletter and any of our updates online. Next month is going to be a fantastic meeting. You know why? We're going to have Eric Cole come here next month to speak about our park system and what's available to us. So we have to start getting out there, right? And walking around would be great. Now we have Captain Sant here today, don't we? Yes, great to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, at least I know now what to ask Dr. Vinikoor for Christmas. Like big fruit basket. I didn't know. I didn't know she was a woman with so many talents. Fantastic. Can you guys hear me? Yep. All right. Good. I know I battle with the mic sometimes. Hey, listen. I'm glad to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well and healthy. Coming off a very busy holiday season. Very busy holiday season. This is May will be my 4th year of the year with you guys, and this holiday season by far was the busiest on record so far. Really, I bet there was a lot of contributing factors. with the pandemic, and people's anxiety, and everything else that goes with it. But I really do want to give you all some credit for it could have been a lot worse. It really could. It could have been a lot worse had we not had these meetings, had you guys not been out here month after month, staying committed to your communities, even on Zoom. Right? We got a lot of stuff done, even on Zoom, and I appreciate everybody's effort in getting that done behind the scenes with the Zoom and getting things set up and messing with your screens and all the other stuff you guys were dealing with, we were dealing with too. All right, I got a couple updates for y'all. We've really seen a spike in auto burglaries throughout the district. Typically, you find a hot spot here or a pattern that would better assist us in deploying our resources to get it done and capture these guys in a timely fashion. But we're seeing the same pattern as well. Vehicles left unlocked, people leaving their valuables on their front seat. That's in the parking lots of plazas. That's in their front driveways. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, folks, but you guys, and I'm preaching to a choir, I know that. We don't live in the same world that maybe you grew up in, maybe I was accustomed to. Things have changed, and they're rapidly changing. And my fear is that it may get a little worse before it gets a little bit better. I hate to start the day off on a downturn or a bad foot like that, but it's not. I look at it this way, it's a platform for us to build on. It really is. I need all of you to when you leave these meetings, take what we share and take what we discuss and bring that forward to your friends, your family. I need force multiplier in this to get that message out. That these kids are coming up from Broward, they're coming up from Dade, they're coming up from Miami, they're coming from other areas of this county, and for some reason, and rest assured, I'm going to fix it. We have an incredible sheriff that stands by our side in everything we do. He provides us with all the resources, the training, the tools, logistically, everything we need to get it done. We get it done, and there's no excuses. We'll get it done. So that is my promise. We will get it done. Let me segue into on a good topic on that point. Because I just got briefed this morning, I don't know if any of you has heard of an attempted ATM burglary on Atlantic Avenue about a couple of weeks ago. And a gentleman came in and tried to tear the ATM system straight out of one of the banks. Can't make it up. I love his creativity. You know, I give him credit for that. By the grace of God, he's not too swift. And he decided to do attempted a bank robbery yesterday in the city of Delray Beach. And it didn't work out too well for him. And it gets better. Funny story I told the kids at home when I found out. He decided after he was being pursued by police to start throwing some of the money out the window. So even my 13-year-old son said, "That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard." So my 18-year-old says, "Well, duh, maybe he was trying to cause a distraction. People were running the streets and grab the money so the police couldn't get him." So I was actually going to have them present to you all today. They have it all figured out. So the good thing is that he's in jail. If FBI is going to take and adopt the case, which is good for us, okay? And hopefully we won't be dealing with the likes of him anytime soon, okay? Lock your cars. And please, don't get upset at me for being redundant. I don't have a stuttering problem, but it's got to be one of those things I have to bring to you all the time. Please lock the cars. Take the key fobs out of the car. Another win success story we just had a few days ago. We had another stolen vehicle out of Dakota, a new community, relatively new community being built here in West Delray Beach. Very nice community. They're establishing themselves. And the lady, the victim, she said, "Well, I thought we were so safe." And I said, "Well, I won't argue that point." I said, "But please, we have to shore things up a little bit." She left the keys in the car with the car. They stole the car. 3 individuals were stopped in a vehicle down in Pompano. Remember I said to you about Broward and Dade? Down in Pompano. All 3 were arrested and were recovered all of her stolen property. Right? So that's good, really good. She feels whole. She feels violated, as we all would, but she feels whole again. And I think she learned a very valuable lesson, and all the other neighbors that were around as well. She conveyed that to them as well. All right. That'll lead me to this construction site. You guys unless you don't live here, you've noticed the construction, the growth in the area, okay, which is good and it can be bad. What comes with it is issues with me and law enforcement, us from law enforcement, that we have to stay ahead of that. We have to stay on top of that. Also, bad guys do what? They're opportunists, right? So they see construction sites, they see that they're working, they see that if you ever been in a construction site, like I did before I became a policeman, that's why I became a policeman, you realize that it's organized chaos somewhat, and criminals take advantage of that. So I ask all of you, if you live in an area that's still under construction, with this homes being constructed, if you have friends or family coming down from wherever part of the country to move here, please encourage them to pay attention. Do not get involved, but if you see something, say something. See something, say something. Report it. There's also apps that the lieutenant had put out a while back, and we'll do it again, that you can connect with law enforcement via the telephone without having to call right away. So there's means of getting a hold of us, but please, 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 if it's something that doesn't sit well with you, I'm interested. I'm interested. All right? Last but not least, I hate to end on this, but I want this to resonate a little bit. How many times have you guys heard me say and impress upon you guys about traffic? Slow down. Slow down. Within the last week, we've lost 7 human lives. That's just measurable lives because they're no longer here. What about the families? What about the families that are now devastated? Their lives will never be the same. And could it have been prevented? I think so. Should it have been prevented? I think so. And I'm being very easy on that point, because the investigation is still ongoing, so I really don't want to take a finite point and cast any kind of blame. But folks, think about it. Vehicle traveling northbound on 441, I assume would be doing the speed limit or thereabouts, is rear-ended hard enough for a vehicle to flip multiple times. You don't do that. That doesn't happen at speeds designed where the speed limit is set. It just doesn't happen. That's why those limits are set. They're just not some kind of random number that us figured out to say, this looks like a good idea to put 55 miles an hour. There's a lot of work that goes into engineering and designing and designating speed limits. So that's why we have to follow them. And I'm going to tell you something. From every podium I speak from, to every one of my deputies, as far-reaching as I could be, to our regional major and my lieutenant and our deputies that put out a commander's meeting, we have to follow, we have to set the pace. Law enforcement. So if you see a deputy, you see an officer driving without the directional signal, trust me, I see it all the time, and we talk about it, right? I knew that would resonate with many of you. I see it too. It's my pet peeve. It's a little embarrassing pulling over one of my own deputies, so I make it. But honestly, we're all human beings. It happens. It's not a, but it could lead to. Is that a fair statement? It's not a big deal, but it could lead to a big deal. So we all have to do better. I'll take full responsibility for it. Now I ask you guys to do the same. Is that fair? Yep. I'll take care of my shop. You take care of your shop. Right? You take care of your shop. Put that message out. Because we could be saving our own deputies' lives. We could be saving our friends, our family, our community's lives. Something has to stop. And I don't know what it is. We had a long meeting about it the other day. So if you see traffic signs up on 441 now, you'll see speed trailers. I'm conducting a survey on 441 that'll give me the pulse of the environment of what's the best time where there's the most speeding and the most traffic. Why do I do that? Because then a good commander knows how to deploy his resources. I don't just throw it against the wall and see what sticks, right? You got to do surveys, you got to do studies. But in the meantime, I have actionable deputies out there taking real-time enforcement. And I hate to say this, one last thing, I'll close on this, is that a good friend of mine the other day said something, is that the perception sometimes of us really amping up a lot of citations and doing a lot of traffic stops in a certain area tends to seem like a meat grinder. We almost put people, citizens in the community through a meat grinder, and it's not. It's not designed to be that, but something's got to cause attention. Something's got to get the attention that we got to do better, all right? So please, travel safe, The designs have changed, buildings have changed. Give yourself some extra time every morning. All right, my phone is always on. Come see me. The office should be open soon. We don't know when, but the phone is always on. Call me. And I look forward to seeing you all next month, all right?
Thank you so much for that report, Captain Sint. And we have Captain Tony Keeler from the firefighters to give us an update. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
I just want to thank Dr. Lori and the Alliance for giving us some time to speak. Chief Hund is at our headquarters. We're in the midst of our 5-year strategic plan with Chief Duran. So he's up there taking care of that, and he asked me to speak today to you guys. So really quick, we just finished up Palm Beach County Fire Rescue's annual report for 2021. It's available on the county's website. If you go to that, discover.pbcgov.org, and then you can also reach it through the fire rescue portion of the website. Just for some numbers, we ran just shy of 150,000 calls in Palm Beach County last year. So, and that's, unincorporated, so that's those just the calls that we dispatch. Doesn't include City of Boca, Boynton, some of those people that have their own dispatch. So that's a lot of calls. So a lot of people are moving down, and the more population you have, obviously the more calls you can run. So in this area, which we all live, obviously the density is becoming a little more. So 3 of the top 5 stations in Palm Beach County are you guys. So Station 45, which is right here on Jog Road, was the busiest station in Palm Beach County. Station 42, I believe, was number 3, and then 41, which on Woolbright, the south end of Woolbright Station, runs into Delray as well. So it's a very busy area. You have 3 of the busiest stations. I just want to thank you as constituents and Dr. Lori and the Alliance for having commissioners here. A lot of things we talk about for personnel are brought up in these meetings. The pros and cons are weighed. Obviously, the monetary value is assessed, and then it's up to the citizens to decide what they want. So I just want you to know that over the past few years, especially with Chief Duran in charge, we've worked really hard to have more personnel on our trucks for you guys. So that's been achieved. So all of our trucks now are fully staffed. We don't have any rescues anymore that were 2-man, which was a thing of the past, So there's more people showing up, which is important, especially for the call volume that we're running, and the call volumes, in your area. So I appreciate you guys for that. I just want you to know it's important to us that we're doing the best we can for you, including, new trucks, new training techniques, hiring, the best people that we can. So, but I'm very much appreciative of what you guys are doing to help us, and your voice within the community, your voice within this organization, and then taking that up to the county commissioners and letting them know what's important to you. And obviously, along with PBSO, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue definitely feels that from you. So thank you for that. Lastly, and I'll be really quick. So we got a couple of cold snaps. I think in the next week or 2, looks like we're going to get a couple more. The space heater that everyone uses, which I understand, just make sure if you think something's too close to it, it definitely is. If you can possibly have nothing within 3 feet of it in all directions, anything more than that is going to be great. Anything less than that is unsafe. So 2 weeks, 2 consecutive weeks, we had fires out west. Both were, traced back to a space heater. I can't say exactly what was too close, but that was an ignition source for the fire. So just be careful with that. I know everyone has them. I know everyone uses them, and that's fine. So if used correctly, they're safe. But if you put your newspaper on it, or you have it too close to the blind, to some of your curtains or whatever that may be, it's definitely a hazard. One last thing, which PBSO had already mentioned. We've had a bad couple weeks for car wrecks in West Delray and then additionally in West Boca. I mentioned to Major Keene off to the side, it was a good one to miss. You know, none of them are good to run, but some of them are taxing. In addition to the lives lost, the families that run them, the sheriff's office that is on that call, fire rescue that's on that call, all of those things. So the worst part for us is seeing things that could have been avoided. There are things that are going to happen that are out of everyone's control, and that's understandable. But the driving habits that you have, that you passed on to your kids, that they passed on to their kids, is something that we got to continually just harp on. So if you can, just reach out to your grandkids, you know, that are driving now, and say, hey, because I want to make sure you're not texting while you're driving. Do me a favor, stay off your phone. If you got an iPhone, turn on the driving preference. So when the phone knows the car is in motion, it's going to send someone a text right away. You'll call them when you get done. It's not that important to pick it up right then. You know, pull over to the side and do it if you have to. But try not to do it, because a lot of this is just distracted driving, and a lot of these can be avoided. You know, and that's somebody's grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, brother, sister, son, daughter, friend. And it's sad because they're avoided. So we can work on that. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to 2022 with less medical drama. Is that the best way to put it? Hopefully. So I hope you guys stay healthy. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you very much.
One thing before we have our breakfast sponsor come up here to say a few words, Wendy Sartori Link, the elections, supervisor elections, asked to have some of these dates provided, so Nicole Carson's going to give us a couple of dates here. You want to come right up here? Okay. Remember, voting is so important, right?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lori, for having us here. And yes, the supervisor of election, Wendy Sartori-Link, she is not able to be here with us today. She is in Tallahassee with the other supervisor of elections office in Florida. So I just want to present, we do have an election for House 88. And if you're unsure, it is March 8th, 2022. If you're unsure of what district is for State House Representative, if you're unsure of the district, I am in the back, and we do have some inserts and some forms and information where you can identify where your district is. And we do have early voting here. It will start February the 26th through March the 6th. It's from 10 to 7. We have early voting locations. The closest early voting location here in this area would be the Delray Community Center, and it is from 10 to 7. So I just wanted to, the supervisor wanted to make sure that everyone here in Delray was aware of an upcoming, it's actually a special general election for the State Representative House 88. Okay, so that's, and we have, you're able to update your signature if you need to. Also, if you need to make any changes or updates to your registration, we do have registration forms in the back. You are more than welcome then to contact our office. You can give us a call, or you can go to our South County branch office location that is on off of Atlantic and off of Atlantic by the driver's license place. It's in that plaza. So if you have any questions, or you want to update your information, drop off your ballot, request a vote by mail ballot, or any other information that you need, you are more than welcome then to go to that particular location here in Delray. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'm right there in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Great. Okay, our breakfast sponsor, right before we get into our main keynote speaker of the day, we have senior helpers. They've been They've been great with us for a few years. They do a terrific job, and the owner is Michael Mall, and he's going to be coming up here to say a few words to you. Michael Mall.
Agency, and in South Palm Beach and in Florida, it's really important to understand the difference. We provide nurse-supervised employees who are workers' comp, liability insurance licensed, bonded, insured. You have a team behind you, and we're the only company that offers what's called a life profile. I put it on your desk. This has reduced readmittance by almost 30% back to rehabs and hospitals once we get you back to your home, your senior community. So it's something to keep them in your community longer. It's 21 years of research and 75,000 clients that gives us the data to minimize any risk for your residents that are coming back to your communities. I want to thank you very much again, and stay safe, and have a great new year.
Great. Thank you for your response. You can take your mask. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe next month we won't have to wear masks. But if you keep eating and drinking, you don't have to wear them, obviously. Wow, we have a terrific lady here today, our property appraiser, Dorothy Jacks. It's interesting because we did have the valuation of our homes and residences and properties performed this year by the property appraiser's office, and values are going up, and you know how much they're going up because of the market and all. And we're going to learn a little bit about that today, and also about some other important things that the property appraiser's office provides. Dorothy Jacks.
Well, good morning, everyone. I have to tell you what a pleasure it is to be here in person. Wow. I think this is my first large event in a very long time, and it really is delightful. I know we're all going through such a tough time, and it's no different in offices like mine. My staff are working very hard under a lot of pressure, both from the virus and then also in this market. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, but it's a real pleasure to be together and see so many faces again, see Dr. Lori, see Bob, see everybody here, your board. I mean, it's just great to be with you. You know, we have had a long and wonderful history with the Alliance. Every month, when you're here in person, Howie Zimmerman from my South County branch is with you in the back of the room. He loves being here, and I hope you use his services as much as you can. Questions you have about both what our office does, and then he's really a great resource about everything that the county does, and can probably direct you to other offices if necessary. So Howie's always here, and Mike Pratt, my outreach coordinator, who's also usually here with you in person and always on your Zoom calls. Also, we're trying to be a resource to you. You know, the property appraiser's office is sort of one of those dark horses, aren't we? People don't know a lot about what we do, but we do impact you pretty significantly every year in your pocketbook. And I always think that's important to share and make sure you know our role and what we can do for you. Of course, I'm a constitutionally elected officer. I'm elected every 4 years countywide, and along with the supervisor of elections and the clerk of court, the tax collector, and the sheriff. So you all will see my name on the ballot every 4 years when the whole group of us come up. We're always in the presidential years. This is a different scenario from most states. I mean, a lot of states, the assessor, as you would know this job if you come from, especially in the Northeast, is usually appointed. But in Florida, we've had a long history of separation of power, as it were. The job that I do, which is to value property, is independent and separate from the body that determines your tax rate. And those are set by the county commission, the school board, the cities, and all the special districts in Florida. So there's a nice sort of division of labor, if you will, that I'm only responsible for figuring out what everything is worth, and then the taxing portion of it is done by both the taxing authorities who set the rates and then the tax collector who collects the taxes at the end of the day. But there's a lot that goes into it before that. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about the market, about what's happening in the market, and then I'm going to talk about the other big job we do, which is exemptions. So Homestead Exemption, I suspect everyone in the room here, most of you are longtime residents, have a Homestead Exemption from your property taxes, but there's a lot of other additional exemptions that we'd like to make sure you know about so that your residents know about them. So I'm going to talk about really those two things. But let's talk a little bit about the market. There's no question that this last year has been a banner year. I don't think I've seen the market move this fast since the run-up to the Great Recession. It's been, and those of you who were here during that event, which was really 2005, 6, and 7, was the run-up, will just remember just wondering what in the world was going on. Well, we are in a little way of doing that again now, wondering what is going on, as we see conservatively 10 to 15% increases pretty much across the board. And even more significantly, we're seeing that in homes that are more affordable. It's kind of a shame. The homes that are more affordable are actually hiking up the fastest, but that's just a matter of demand for those homes. People need to be able to work where they live. They need to live where they work, and so anything that is affordable is just that much more in demand at the moment. We hit our highest value on record last year at $308 billion. That's the value of the entire county. Of that, about $222 billion is taxable. The difference between those two numbers are a lot of exempt property, government property, this building, schools, all kinds of property are tax exempt. A lot of the conservation land is tax exempt. And then certainly our homestead exemptions are in that difference. But $308 billion, we're the third most valuable county in the state after our neighbors to the south, Broward and Miami-Dade. We're actually neck and neck with Broward. I suspect we will pass Broward in the next 10 to 15 years simply because Broward is pretty well built out east to west, and whereas Palm Beach still has a lot of vacant land to the west, most of it, of course, under agriculture at the moment. I know that's a different subject but it's just something to think about because that runs all the height and width of the county, and from north to south there is a lot of vacant land still in this county. But the thing that we're watching that really sort of presents that question or that wow moment is the number of transactions that occurred last year. So we watch how many transactions occur, meaning sales, how many sales occur in the county year over year. In 2020, so the end of 2020, there were about 67,000 transactions. That was about the number that we were hitting for many years. Probably the last 5 or 6 years have been in that 65 to 70,000 transactions. So 2020, even though it was the beginning of the pandemic and pretty much the market stopped for about 6 weeks there in April and May, it picked back up, it kind of returned, and then we saw the year end up being somewhat like all the years prior. However, in 2021, we just finished, through the end of December, 85,000 transactions, a 26% increase. That's pretty amazing when you think about that's over 1 year. So for us, that's a sign of a market that's really heating up. I think what we really are interested in is what will happen this year. Will that slow down? It feels as though things are slowing a little bit in the market through this just beginning portion of the year. But we also have just been through another surge, and the surge seemed to slow everything down. And then once the surge ends, things start to sort of speed back up again. So we wait and see, as I'm sure you do, what will happen over the next few months. I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell you what's going to happen. I think we all wish that, and people say, well, do you know what's going to happen? And I don't know that I'd need my job if we knew what was going to happen, right? A machine could do it if we could just plug it in and tell it what was going to happen. But I do think that hopefully there will be some tempering. I will be concerned if there isn't some tempering, because it really does tell us that the market is moving pretty fast and furious, and that's not necessarily the best thing in this economy or in this real estate market. So besides the residential market that you all see every day, there's also quite a bit of movement in the commercial sector, office space. Surprisingly, office space. I mean, everybody tells us that everybody's going to want to work from home. Well, it doesn't appear that investors think that, because they are investing heavily in office space, and there's a lot of transactional work happening there. And also warehousing, which makes a lot of sense with the internet economy, all of us ordering things now, not necessarily going out. They need space to put product, to be able to get it near to their customers. But I want to talk now a little bit about homestead exemption and how that is helping this whole massive run-up in the market. You know, I've been in the office now for 33 years, and when I started there was a homestead exemption, but there was no additional benefit of the property tax cap. The cap is tied to homestead. You only get it if you are homesteaded, and it caps the amount that your property can go up for you to pay taxes on year over year to 3%, or the change in the CPI, Consumer Price Index, whichever is less. So what that means is that if you're homesteaded, in addition to having the approximately $800 you save on the exemption, you also get this cap. But as long as you're there in that home, your value will only go up to 3% year over year. I can tell you, we just heard from the state that this year that percentage is going to be 3%. And as some of you may remember, I've come in past years and told you it was going to be less because it was the CPI difference. But the CPI this year, believe it or not, was almost 7%. So they have now pegged it at 3%. I mean, thank goodness it wasn't 7%. Thank goodness they have that sort of stop measure in it. So what that means is that those of you who are not moving, not changing homes, your taxes will go up 3% based on the value, even though the value of your property may be going up a great deal more. Now, if you sell your home, then your homestead that gives you that cap benefit comes off of that home, and the buyer will actually pay higher taxes because we're required to do what we call reset the value to market. So we reset the value to the higher market value of the property, and then that new homeowner will end up paying more in taxes. Now, that's why you often see in neighborhoods with identical homes next door to one another, you'll see somebody paying more than their neighbor. And that is usually because the person who's paying more hasn't been there as long. And you can, I always encourage people, look it up on our website if you want more information about why is it different. You can tell just from sort of looking at the numbers over time why the numbers are different. Why a neighbor who hasn't been there as long is paying higher taxes. But there's also now a nice benefit called portability, which allows you to carry or port your homestead benefit to a new home. So don't despair. I mean, don't think I'm not going to move, ever. If you want to move, you are able now to take some of that, well, take your portability benefit to a new home. And it is as if at that new home, you've had homestead for a while with the portability benefit. Now that only works for Florida to Florida, so you can't be coming here from somewhere else and bring it with you. You have to have been established in Florida for, a period of time, and then that benefit can be moved to another property. We handle that, our office. You file the application with us at the time that you file for homestead on your new property. Remember, every time you move, you have to file again for homestead. It doesn't automatically move with you. We have to know that you moved, most importantly, and we have to get a new application from you, make sure you're still a Florida resident, make sure that's still your primary home, and then we also help you with filing for the portability. Okay? So don't ever worry about that again. Howie, who is always here, I know all of this is a lot of information, but he can answer any questions about it anytime. If you go home tonight and you think, I didn't really get that, or that was so, it is convoluted. I don't disagree with you. It's convoluted. but that's what we're here for. We're here to try and help you. I do want to make you aware that if you are homesteaded, you would have gotten one of these, a pink card, January 1st, with my name at the top of it. And all that is just to tell you that you got your homestead again. You don't have to do anything. If you're not moving, if you haven't changed anything, if all the information is correct, you just put this in your real estate property taxes file. I have one of those too, believe it or not. And you just leave it for the year. It's totally fine. But if you have moved, you need to call us. Make sure you let us know. Now, I do want to talk to you very quickly about additional exemptions. So I know Mike handed out everybody a brochure like this, Do You Qualify? We really like to encourage you, to encourage your residents to make sure they know about additional exemptions. There are a lot of nice additional benefits available in Florida, and they're all detailed in this, I know it's very small print, but there's a lot of them, which is a good thing. But there's some nice benefits for veterans, disabled veterans. You have to have a disability. It's not, my husband's a veteran, but he doesn't have a disability, or he'd get one, but you have to have a disability. So, but there's also some nice things for first responders, spouses of first responders, people who are totally and permanently disabled and are income limited, meaning their income is below, it's actually around $32,000 a year threshold, are able to get an additional exemption. So these brochures, Howie always has them with him. We have some extra today. If you'd like some more to take to your communities, please let us know. We'd love you to take them to your communities, because it's kind of a shame that there are these benefits. We don't have a lot, we know people are qualified for them that don't necessarily know about them, you know, so do try, help us to get that information out. And I want to talk specifically also about the low-income senior benefit. So there is an additional homestead available to seniors over 65 who are what is considered low income. And low income this year is around $32,000 a year, $32,000 gross household income. Okay, so that's based on last year. And in the past, we have about 15,000 folks who qualify for this. And every year they get a form, and I brought a copy of it, that one pager that they have to fill out and send back to us. Well, this year, due to our wonderful legislative delegation, we were able to get a change in the law that allows it to automatically renew. So rather like the homestead exemption. So this year, they'll get a card. It won't be as big as this, but I wanted to show you. It's a yellow card, or gold. We color our cards so that when you call us, we can say, what color card did you get? And we know immediately what exemption you're talking about. So this is going to be gold this year. It's the senior renewal, and it's going to be this size though. But it's going to come out here in the next 3 weeks, and all the seniors who in the past would have had to fill out a form and mail it back to us, just again have to take that card and put it in their file, and they're renewed for the year. Okay? So again, I know we'll have a lot of people that call us when they get the card, because everyone's really good and responsible about returning the renewal form, but now we won't have to return the form. So again, if you have residents who say, you know, it was weird, I didn't get that letter that I'm supposed to fill out, you know, if it reminds you that if they got the card, then they're okay. But they can, again, always call us, or again, like I said, bring them here and let Howie talk to them, and he can answer their questions about it. So, you know, that's the senior exemption, new this year. Our legislators, I work with them very closely. In fact, just yesterday I was on the phone trying to work on an exemption issue. All of our law is everything we do is documented in the Florida statutes. So whenever we want to make a change, it's our legislators who are the ones who make that happen. So they're important people. I know they're all in Tallahassee at the moment. And we work with them, myself, the clerk, the collector, the supervisor. We all work with them closely during this period of time just to make sure that things that you need, things that we need locally are taken care of in Tallahassee. And with that, I want to close by saying that my office is always willing to come out to your communities. I know many of you have monthly meetings of various sorts, whether it's a men's club or a community meeting. We're always happy to come out and talk about any of these issues, you know, and also specifically talk about your neighborhood. Whenever I do those talks, I always bring information about the actual transactions, what's happening, what the market is showing within your community, just so that it hopefully is relevant and useful. But if you're ever interested in that, just let us know. You know, we're always happy to do it. Mike is a great resource for that. If you're interested, just let him know some week, say, hey, can you send somebody out? And it'll either be me, because I like to do these, or it'll be one of my senior staff who come if I'm not able to come that week. So do think about that. I know it's a good time of year. A lot of groups have people together, and now that we're finally, maybe, fingers crossed, going to be able to do a few more things together, but we can, of course, also do Zoom. So thank you so much. You know, my office's slogan is, we value what you value, right? So that's not just your homes, it's also you and your families and your communities, and we hope to be with you for many, many years to come. Thank you so much for having us.
I don't remember having such a personable property appraiser. We do have if anybody has any questions, you can come up here. If there's anything really pressing, you have to come up here to the microphone. You can have one or two questions. Speak right into the microphone.
David asked me like some Delray, so I just want to make sure I understand one of the things you said. Notwithstanding the increase in values our homes may have had this past year, which is probably an artificial bubble, our real estate taxes will be capped at 3%.
Correct. The value increase will be capped at 3% for all homesteaded properties.
Right.
Now, the tax rates, which are set by the taxing authorities, could make that slightly higher or slightly lower. Because of course, remember, what happens is we provide this, let's talk about Palm Beach County. We give Palm Beach County a number. We say, you have $220 billion that you can now tax. They at that point say, okay, well, how much money do we need? And they divide the two and they come up with a rate. Now, so what they need as they get more money is hopefully they can lower their rate, right? It's all math, it's all good old math. But, so that is why there can be a slight fluctuation, but the value will only go up 3%. Yes, absolutely.
Great, that drove that point home. That was excellent, thank you. That put the exclamation point on our meeting today. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori.
Took one of these. This is important. Yeah, take one of these back with you. Well, everybody, it was a great time. We had some great food today. It was great to see you all. We'll see you next month. Remember, it's going to be all about our parks, and especially locally, and you'll be able to visit the Murakami immediately after. The pass would be only good for immediately after the program.